Welcome to the show, everybody. I hope you're having a great week. And more importantly, I hope you're focused this week as you go into a new week. I really do. Or actually, middle of the week now. Here we are in the middle of the week. I hope you're focused. I hope you're really lasered in on that bullseye. It's what we talked about last week, this idea. We've been talking about chasing greatness. We covered purpose and passion the first couple of weeks. Did episodes on all those. I know a bunch of you got to listen to those. If you didn't, you might want to go back and check them out. But last week, we introduced this idea of focus because we said if you have a great purpose and you have all the passion in the world, but you don't have focus, you don't have the ability to really achieve your goals and the things that are going to help make your vision happen, you're never going to get to where you want to go. You're never going to get to greatness as we talk about chasing greatness. So welcome to the podcast this week. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to dive into goals a little deeper than we ever have, honestly. And I think when it's all said and done today, you're going to have a way to not only identify your number one goal, but I'm going to give you several ways to think about goals and different types of goals that you might not really have thought about before. And I think these will just give you some ideas to help you with your focus. So again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the like button, all the comments. Those things are great. I encourage you to continue to do that. And if you know somebody who really you're trying to help them or maybe they're trying to help somebody else, you might want to share with them this content. I think it could be something very helpful. Maybe you have a goal junkie out there, somebody who loves goal setting, or maybe there's somebody out there who's not much of a goal setter. They might need a little help with that. So hopefully this content will be helpful. So let's go back to our target that we introduced last week. We talked about this idea of an archery target and living a life that's bullseye, laser focused on the center, starting something on the outside and ultimately finishing something on the inside. Let's talk about this idea of starting with your number one goal. It's our outer ring. And you're going to get some points just for identifying what your number one goal is. And so let me go back to that idea. I actually introduced it last week. I mentioned that I had been reading or I read recently Brian Tracy's book, Bullseye. And one of the things he talks about in the book is making a list of your top 10 goals. And then he gives it'd be cool if this could happen. It's not going to happen. But he said, what if you could just wave a magic wand and one of those would come true in the next 24 hours? I think it's the way he said it. I'd like to just blink unless I think I said Aladdin's lamp and it just happens immediately. That would be even better than waiting 24 hours if you've got some goals there. But I want us to use that idea to help us identify our number one goal. Now, I'm going to make the case that 10 goals is a lot. It's not that you can't have 10 goals, but I'm thinking here about your primary goals. I want you to think about maybe having a list of goals that's closer to 5 than it is 10. That's the way we teach it in business. When we think about businesses, I mean, you can have a bunch of goals. That's great. But if you have too many goals, you really have none. You can't focus if you have too much. And so honestly, getting your list down to 3 to 5 things that you want to maybe accomplish in the next 100 days. I think that's a good way to think about it as we, head into the home stretch or the fourth quarter of this year. I also like the idea of maybe even stretching it out a little bit and thinking over the next 12 months. That's a good way to think about it. Like, what would you, if 3 things could happen over the next 12 months, what would they be? And I've got 3 or 4 big projects that I'm trying to accomplish and some things. I've got a couple things in business that way. I got a couple things personally that way. So as you begin to think about it, I want you to start with maybe a legal pad. You may not even have a legal pad. Go get one if you haven't seen one in a while, or if you got some kind of journal, or even on your phone, wherever you take your notes. But I want to encourage you to go get a pen somewhere or a pencil, whatever you like to write with. Maybe you've not written in a while. You just do all your texting and typing. But I love the idea of getting a pen and a pad and writing down just at the top of the page, make a list that just says my 100-day goals, and maybe see if you could come up with 4 or 5 things that you would love to see happen. You really are planning for them to happen over the next couple months. And so as you do that, go back to our, if you could snap your fingers and one of them would be true, which one would it be? And we're going to make that our number one goal. We're going to say that's the most important goal. That's the one that we would say is kind of highest and best use of our time. And so again, I think that one's important to start with. But for this context, I'm gonna give you permission to write down 4 or 5 things. You can go all the way to 10 if you want to. You do you, whatever works. But But the first thing to do literally is to write down your goals. The studies have been shown for decades now that the more we have our goals written down, it just increases really exponentially the likelihood of those things being accomplished. Some of you are struggling right now to accomplish your goals because you really don't have your goals written down on paper. Once you write them down on paper, I say post them somewhere where you'll see them all the time. Make them your screensaver. Make yourself set an alarm every day where you have to read them once a day, whatever it works for you. But I think once we have them written and then we review them, I think we're really positioning ourselves to be successful. A second thing I would say, or maybe I guess that would be a third thing if we're going to post them as number 2. But a third thing about your goals is my question would be by when. Like, I want to do this, but by when? So that's why I like the 100-day mindset. It's like or in this case, by December 31st, this is going to happen. And I think there's just something powerful that when we are able to not only just state our goal and write our goal down, but when is it going to happen? What's going to happen by when? It's just a powerful question, and it actually is a motivator. And I'll just give you this idea that I think will be helpful. This is helpful to me. The longer that time frame is, let's say it's an annual goal. I'm going to set an annual goal. I want to put milestones in place. The longer that goal is out, the more I'm going to need milestones to help me along the way. So I'll give you an example. Some of you have been listening. One of my things this year was I really wanted I go back to something I read earlier in the year. It talked about writers are readers. I always heard leaders are readers. That's true, but the best writers are readers. And I thought, man, I want to be a good writer. I'm a writer. I try to write. Written some books, and we're writing all kind of resources and content. And I'm thinking it would be helpful to me to read more. And so, I did something crazy. I doubled my annual goal, which is normally I try to read 50 books. I really struggle usually to get there, but this year I thought I'm going to let technology help me. I'm going to do some things differently, and I'm going to try to read 100 books, which sounded insane at the beginning of the year, but I'm proud to report I am knocking the door on 100, and I still got a couple of months left. I'm literally on pace to go about 125, which is insane compared to anything I've ever done. Now, I'll tell you how I did it. I set some milestones along the way. I thought all I need to do really is read 10 in January, and then let's see if I can do that. And if I can do that, then I've got a shot. February is going to be tough because it's a short one, right? But I was able to do that the first couple months, and then all of a sudden I just got in this pattern. Those are my milestones the last day of the month, and I have this, I write all the names of the books down. I'm checking them off as I go. And so literally you got to read a book about every 3 days, which is kind of nuts. But thankfully, being able to listen to books has helped anytime I'm in the car. And so I just turned off some of the things that I typically would listen to, hadn't been able to listen to as much music, hadn't been able to, we canceled Netflix this year. I mean, it's just like, I'm focused on this thing because it's a goal. So again, I don't tell you that story to tell you need to read more books, but I do tell you that story because I want you to understand when you pick something and say, this is what I'm going to go after, that focus is huge. And having a date on it, like I'm trying by the end of the year to do this. And now, since that's a long time out, I mean, I could just kind of start reading books, and that's usually why I've struggled in the past, honestly, is I start reading and I get to September and I'm going, oh man, I'm way behind on my, I wanted to read 50 and I've only read 7 or 8 or 14, whatever. And so I think having those milestones has helped me. And I think for you, it would be very helpful for you to go back and say, okay, what is something I'm trying to do over a longer period of time? And what are some milestones along the way? So that'll be helpful to you. The third thing I would say is just prioritize your goals. So as you've gotten that list now written out of the things that you want to accomplish, hopefully your legal pad's starting to fill up, or when this is over, I encourage you to fill up that legal pad. And once you do, could you prioritize them? If you could choose, I mean, literally one of them to be your number one goal, I want you to put a star by that one, a 1 by that, check marks, whatever, that highlight it. That's the one. But what's number 2? What's number 3? And rank order your top 5. We hear, top 5 in the college football polls every week, and the top 4 is going to make the playoff. I mean, can you really rank order your top 4 or 5 things? You said, if these things could happen by the end of the year, I would love for this, and it's got to be doable. It's got to be attainable. It's not something that, you can't read 1,000 books in the next 100 days. That's not going to happen. But is there something that you could say, I'm gonna try to sell this much, or I'm gonna try to meet with this many people, or I'm gonna try to, I've got a buddy of mine, or a family member of mine actually, he's trying to run a half marathon, and he's working on that here in the next couple months, and so. You get to choose your goal, but you got to prioritize. You got to rank order them, because the number one, that's the one that needs to get the most focus. Next thing I would say is, the bigger your goal is, I encourage you to enlist help for your really big goals. If you've got something big, I can't enlist help to help me read books, but when it comes to writing books or those kind of things, I got all kind of people that are helping me with editing and research and publishers. I mean, sales. I mean, there's all kind of things that go into to writing a book, as an example. But the bigger your goal is, the bigger your project is, especially if it's a work goal, you need to get some people. You need a team of people to help you with that. And so, I just want to ask you, is there an area where you've got a goal, you're struggling to reach it, and maybe there's somebody that could help you? And so, especially for your professional goals. Make sure you enlist help. You've got great people around you. Reach out to them. Here's another one. I would encourage you to make your goal measurable. This is the old SMART goal, but is it measurable? Is it specific, measurable? All those. I mean, those are great. If you don't know about SMART goals, look that up. I'm not going to go into those here, but this idea of it being measurable. How do you know if you hit the goal? How do you know if I love the football field, because there's a goal line. It's even called the goal line. It's like, the goal is to put the ball in the end zone, to cross that line as a team. And you got 11 people working to get past those other 11 people on the other team. And so you want to have a way to measure your goal. Are you being successful? And then I want to kind of spend the rest of our time today talking about some specific kinds of goals, but I want to start with one big idea, and then I'm going to give you 8 different types of goals that you can have, and maybe it'll just help you think, just kind of prime the pump here a little bit. But the first thing I would say here, the big idea maybe, is to choose something that's going to be what I would call a growth goal. Is there something that for you to achieve this goal, it is going to cause you to grow? So Jim Collins years ago in Good to Great, he talked about the old BHAG. It's the big, hairy, audacious goal. It's just something that's like nuts. You're going, I'm going to go after that. And that's bigger than anything I've ever done. For me, it was the books. It's like 50 was already pushing me. 100 sounded insane. It was like, this is crazy. I mean, doable. A lot of people, big readers, they read that much, but for me, it was just like something that it just didn't even seem in the realm of possibility. But by setting that big goal, it just caused me to have to put lots of energy into that. And so BHAG, that's one way to think about a growth goal. A long-term goal might be a way to think about a growth goal. I mean, it gives you, if you're going to do something that's really going to cause you to grow, you have complete permission to give yourself way more time. And so to think more long-term here, maybe something that's going to take you a year or two. A book would take a year for me to do if I think about that. Or we've got an annual something we're trying to do in our business right now. We're thinking about, and so I would, as you think about growth, it can be your BHAG, your long-term goal, a dream goal. It might be something. I mean, dreams are really great. They help us aspire to something, but dreams have to be put into action. That focus that we've been talking about is going to help us make these dreams come true. Or you can just call it a big goal, whatever you want to, a stretch goal. But those kind of things, I want to really challenge you to choose some goals that are going to challenge you to grow. You want to really grow. I mean, the more you grow, obviously the bigger you get, and the bigger you get, the more you're able to help other people get big. And what I mean by that is just this idea of it literally is a capacity play. You're just going to you're going to grow into a bigger leader if you challenge yourself with your goals. And so maybe some of us, we're not achieving our goals, we really haven't challenged ourselves with a goal in a while. And I've just remember so many times through the years, I've put goals out there. I thought there's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. And yet just having the goal written down, knowing I was going after it, it's crazy how you sort of rise to the occasion. And I just want to challenge you over the next few months. I mean, give yourself something that's going to really stretch you. So I want to give you today, I want to land this with 8 different types of goals that you can have. Now, remember, let's go back to what we said. I'm not asking you to have 8 goals. I'm just going to give you 8 types of goals. You get to choose which ones of these you say I want to incorporate into my focus over the next few months. But I just wrote down several kinds of goals. So the first one I'll start with is that idea of stretch goal. It's that growth goal that we just talked about. So there needs to be, maybe all of us need to have something that's really going to push us. And maybe that does need to be one of them. I'm not sure it needs to be our number one goal, but I want to just always have something that's going to challenge me and push me to be my best. And man, there's just nothing better than going after something that's really hard and getting to the end and achieving that and realizing it was hard, but it was worth the climb because you got better along the way. So that a stretch goal, a growth goal, that's a good one. Here's another goal, another type of goal as I was thinking about it. Is there a goal that is not for you, it's for someone else? A goal that we'll just call this our value add goal, or our adding value goal. Is there a goal that you could set for yourself that is going to actually benefit someone else? I think that's a good way to think about my goal. What's my number one goal that's going to help someone else? That might be a good way to help you focus as well. Here's another one. We'll call this a skill goal. Is there a goal that you have right now that is going to help you develop one of your skills? My reading goal was not a reading goal. It was a goal that was going to help develop me into a better writer. It was a skill I was trying to improve. And so reading was just a way to get there, but I needed a goal to help push me. And, you'll be the judge down the road or if you read any of my stuff as to whether it's better or not. But I can tell you this, I've always tried to continue making progress here as a writer. And I know I need to, honestly. I go all the way back to where, I started in remedial English when I got to college. I couldn't even get in a regular English class. And so I've made some progress. I mean, you still may not think it's all that great, but it's a lot better than it was when I got to, and that was in my junior college. I couldn't even get into the senior college to start with. And so, that was good. And so maybe you need a skill goal. Is there a skill that you got a gap in your what's required of you right now? You're like, I need to be better at communicating, or I need to be better at, public speaking, or I need to be better at leading meetings. Whatever it is you have, there's a chance right now for you to set a goal to improve and make it measurable and have some people that can help you there. But maybe a skills one. Here's another one. I like thinking about this, and we'll do something on teams at some point. But do you have a team goal right now? We've got a team goal in our company. We're really going after for 2022. We're excited about that. And that goal is giving us a chance to focus more. Does your team have a goal? Are you even part of a team? Or maybe you're not even leading the team, but you look at your team that you're on and you're going, man, it just doesn't seem like we're doing what we could. Those teams that do the best they really do have a goal. They're really going after something great. And so maybe you need a team goal. We mentioned now the growth goal, the value add goal, a skill goal, a team goal. Here's another one. Is there a goal that you have in your life to improve your character? Improve your character. We talked about skill, and we always say if your heart's not right, nobody cares about your skills. Your skills do matter. They're important as a leader. You got to be able to cast vision and solve problems and build teams and lead meetings and all those. Those are skills, but your character matters as well. And so is there a place in your leadership right now where you need to be more teachable, or maybe more courageous, or maybe you need to accept responsibility for your actions? Maybe it's your attitude. I don't know, but maybe a goal would really help you improve on these areas where you just seem to continue to struggle over and over again. The people around you might even help you identify what that area would be. But is there something in your character or in your just the underneath side, the part that nobody sees, and maybe you think you have everybody fooled, or maybe you do have everybody fooled, but the truth is, when you look in the mirror, there's some spots in your, you pretend to have a great attitude, but the truth is your attitude's not so great when you're really honest about it. And so is there a goal that you need to set in your character? And then just a couple more here. These are a little bit different than the ones we just discussed here, but these two I think are These will be the ones where your real goals will fit. The first one we'll call our 9 to 5 goal. Do you have a number one work goal? Something that from 9 to 5, it is your number one focus. Again, your team goal may be that goal. I mean, for us, it kind of is there. Maybe you've got a revenue goal or a profit goal, or if you're a business owner, and a lot of you executives are listening, and you've got something that you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to start a company. Maybe that's your number one goal, and you've got, by the middle of 2022, that's going to be our, whatever it is you've got. But there's a number one goal that you have. You got an idea that you want to get put into action, or you've got to, got to raise some money to be able to make something. I don't know what your goal is, but I think it's really good to think about, what is my number one work goal? And then you know what's coming here. It's the other side of that coin. What's your 5 to 9 goal? It's like what happens from 9 to 5 is important, but really what happens from 5 to 9 is what positions you to win from 9 to 5. It's what happens outside of work. So what's your number one goal outside of work? And I think when we hear 5 to 9, we I've never really heard anybody talk about it that way, but we typically, when I say it, people think, are you talking about marriage and parenting? And yes, but that's not all that happens from 5 to 9. So for you, as you set that goal, maybe it is a marriage goal, or maybe it is a parenting goal, or maybe it is something, a financial goal your personal finances is outside of work. Maybe it's a fitness goal. But as you begin to think about things that happen outside of the work, what is your number one goal there? So hopefully these ideas, this stretch goal and your character goal, your skill goal, a way to add value to others, a team goal, growth goal, 9 to 5 goal, 5 to 9 goal, all these things, these will be helpful to you. I hope you've been thinking through like some specific things that will relate to you. And here's what I'm convinced of. Your goals will ultimately unleash your greatness. If you don't have goals, you don't have things that you're going after, you really just have aspirations. And aspirations really are the enemy of greatness. That's probably the wrong way to say that. Aspirations are great, but if it stops there, you'll never get to greatness. That's a better way to say it. So let's make sure that we, first of all, have goals in place. We rank order those goals. We got several different types here. And then next week when we get back, I'm going to give you some very specific ways to unleash your energy toward your number one goal. So thanks for listening today. I hope you are beginning to think about your goals a little differently maybe than you have. I think sometimes we get in this pattern toward the end of the year. It's like we're heading to the holidays and all this kind of stuff, and we just kind of take our foot off the gas. I think some of us have, over the last couple of years, things have been obviously very different. Your circumstances have been different, probably in your workplace, maybe your family relationships. You've probably been challenged personally in so many ways. So many people have, and it's so easy to take our foot off the gas at times. And so we don't want to do that. If we're chasing greatness, we're really going to go after the best we can. I mean, we really have been given this life, and we need to steward it correctly. We need to understand that greatness really is in every single person. It's available to you. It's not just about you. It's in you, but it's actually for someone else. The best people are really our servant leaders. They're making not just themselves great or going after that. They're trying to make the people around them great and providing an environment where that can happen. And so hopefully some of this, as we're talking about this idea of focusing, and specifically focusing on our goals, is giving you a way to think about that. So keep sharing, keep encouraging us. We're going to try to keep encouraging you, and I hope you'll find yourself this week really just maniacal about identifying those goals and really preparing to go after them as we get back together next week. So we'll see you next week. You guys have a great one, and let's keep going after those goals.